President Trump's attempt to name a loyalist to the job of Director of National Intelligence fell flat on Capitol Hill. But Congressman John Ratcliffe is far from the first Trump pick to see his nomination really go nowhere. Joining me now, Tharon Johnson, former South Regional Director for Obama 2012 and President and CEO of Paramount Consulting Group, and Brian Robinson, Republican strategist and President of Robinson Republic PR. Welcome back to both of you.
Good to be here.
So let's start here with Ratcliffe. This lasted 5 days from tweet to tweet. Tweet Sunday, I'm naming the guy. Tweet Friday, sorry, not the guy. What happened here?
Well, Congressman Ratcliffe had a star turn during the Mueller hearings, was seen as one of the more effective, one of the more tenacious defenders of Trump, and one of the best attackers on the credibility of Robert Mueller. We know that that means a lot to President Trump. When you're talking about folks going in over these giant bureaucracies in the federal government, you have to understand the president's mindset. He thinks that they are staffed with people who hate him and who are determined to undermine his presidency. That's how he sees the world, and frankly, many of his supporters agree with the deep state is out there. So it makes sense if you see it from that perspective that he wants somebody who's going to go in there and tenaciously stand up for his agenda and tamp down the staff below it that might be trying to undermine the president's administration.
Yeah, but someone who is a loyalist as the Director of National Intelligence.
Well, what Brian just explained is not governing. You know, in this position, you want someone who is going to be apolitical, someone who is going to provide the best information to the President of the United States to keep this country safe. But Victor, this is again showing that this president and this administration has failed in the vetting process. You know, President Trump doesn't care about experience. He doesn't care about talent. He doesn't care about skills. All he cares about is loyalty. And don't get me wrong, in politics, loyalty is paramount. But in this particular position, he has shown out the countless of people of his administration has been improperly vetted. And then once they get in, they basically, all these things sort of rise. He's shown that he's not paying attention to what really the country needs. And the country needs someone in this position who's going to keep us safe, not just someone who's going to be loyal to this president.
Let's look beyond the specific position. We've put together some of, again, not all, but some of the Trump nominees or announced nominees who didn't make it to confirmation or through it. Starting with Andrew Puzder at the beginning of the administration as Secretary of Labor, Ronnie Jackson at the VA, Vincent Viola and Mark Green for Secretary of the Army, Philip Bilden, Secretary of the Navy, Heather Nauert at the UN Ambassador, Ron Vitello at ICE Director, Jason Miller, White House Director of Communications, Sam Clovis at Commerce, David Clark at Homeland Security, KT McFarland, Ambassador to Singapore, Stephen Moore, Herman Cain, both at the Federal Reserve. What is going on with the vetting process at the White House that you could put this together? Every administration has one or two that withdraw because of some revelation, but this seems to be an established pattern here.
Well, one good thing about having so many names is if you're one of the people on the list, people quickly forget you because there are so many names on that list. If you look back at what happened during the transition in 2016 going into 2017, Chris Christie, former governor of New Jersey, was the head of it. They fired him very early in that process. There was nobody who took the helm. So there was a bit of chaos, and you see the result of the chaos of that deliberative process or lack of deliberative process.
But this is no longer 2016 or 17, it's 2019.
But I'll say, Victor, you're not seeing lists like that today. I do think there has been
Herman Cain, Stephen Moore.
That was all 2016.
Ratcliffe just had, no, Herman Cain and Stephen Moore were this year. Ratcliffe was this week.
That's true.
Right.
Part of what you're seeing there is this technique that the president has, and you can bash it if you want, but he likes a national focus group. He does this a lot. He'll tweet something out. He'll go to his rallies and see how it's responded to. He'll see how the host on Fox News respond to it, how Fox and Friends responds to it. And then if it doesn't go well, he withdraws it. This is sort of, whereas other administrations did this internally, in many ways, he does it externally.
Yeah, but is that the way you're supposed to run a railroad? I mean, the president says, I throw a name out to the media, you vet them.
Well, it's flawed leadership. And then seeing him now basically depending on you guys here at CNN to help vet the candidates, that's not y'all's job. Y'all job is to basically provide the facts about these candidates or these people who have been vetted to the public. But what it really shows is that this president, Brian just said it, he's basically running this White House into the ground. He's playing political football.
That's not what Brian just said.
Well, you kind of,
that's not
I'm
what
sure
Brian
that's
just
not
said.
what Brian just said.
But I'm saying that I think he's running into the ground. But I think that Brian's failure to defend this reckless behavior and his inability to govern in a vetting process when you have tens of thousands of people at your disposal that can gather information on these candidates. And then more importantly, what's disrespectful to these people who have basically put their lives and their families out there to actually be put on the public stage and then to basically be withdrawn and not to be confirmed is an embarrassment.
Well, both of you stay with us because we've got some more to talk about, especially the Democrats. When we come back, we'll talk about a milestone reached. A majority of House Democrats now support an impeachment inquiry, but it may not mean that